On the surface, the Dallas Cowboys 2025 free agency might seem a little but what if I told you that there's a deeper strategy at play right here? Intricately linked, to coaches and shifts and overhauls within the scheme. Let's deep dive to the method behind the madness. First of all, the Dallas Cowboys moving this much may seem even a little more unconventional at first, mainly because they never done this type of movement before, or just numerous movements before. They're mainly a team that are mainly draft and develop and only promote from within. But this time, they're getting more guys, and there's a deeper dive to the strategic approach that they're getting, especially with the recent coaching hires. And we're going to dive in onto these recent acquisitions that include Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Robert Jones, Dante Fowler, Jack Sanborn, Solomon Thomas, Peyton Turner, Kenneth Murray, Kyer Elam, Paris Campbell's, and how they fit into the Dallas Cowboys' evolving philosophy. Now, let's start with the running back room. Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. Now, we know that the Cowboys are evolving into a more of a power gap scheme run. This means it's going to be a little different with the archetype of running back that we're going to require a more downhill back, and both backs do excel in that. Javonte Williams is a power scheme runner, accelerates through contact, which I saw, hard runner, gets upfield quickly. Miles Sanders is also a downhill runner, does not have the same burst as he used to be, and he's just a fundamental runner, going to do all the right things correct. But when I look at this running back room, I'm gonna be honest with you, there's still a little more room for improvement. We do change and actually have some versatility, whether it be in the passing and running with these guys. So I think we fall into Clayton Adams' vision just a little bit, but there's still more to be desired when it comes to this. Next up is Robert Jones, the offensive lineman we got from the Dolphins. Some people believe that this addition is to replace Zach Martin and fill in the void that he did, not directly, but the guy behind Brock Hoffman. I can see this to a degree, but I don't feel like he's the final piece, especially as this new swing guard, especially looking at his film, still plays high. He's not very powerful. And I mean, he can be a solid backup, but he's just not a guy I want to see very often. So I feel like he does have a connection with the coaches. Mainly, he can come in here and be a translator for the guys that's already here. Maybe be a vet, somebody to coach him up during the drills, indie drills in certain periods, etc. So maybe from a mental standpoint, this improves the offensive line room. Next, we'll move on to Solomon Thomas, the former D tackle for the Jets, former first round pick as well. Been in the league for a while, and he's just a guy who's just a high effort player, directly connected to Aaron Whitecotton, so he understands what Aaron Whitecotton is going to want from his D tackle group. Actually, funny enough, Osa Odighizuwa has not had a formal 3-tech backup in a while. We mainly just rotate big guys and just have them shift over from the 1 to the 3, but not having a true 3-tech behind Osa Odighizuwa in the past, you can say has hurt us to a degree. But since Flus does premier this position group, so he's going to emphasize in having a surplus in that this upcoming year. Next is a guy who's been here before, and I want to talk about in Dante Fowler. I feel like this is probably going to be the most exciting move, Cowboy Nation, because he was a guy coming in. He should never left, honestly. He was a very productive player when we had him. He had probably the best sack to snaps ratio, which means he was getting even more production. Just guys were in front of him. You can chalk it up to politics, but the stats back up itself. When he was with the Commanders, he got 10.5 sacks. He was really the only pass rush, generator. Cowboy Nation, this is going to be very, very crucial in our defense. Our defense plays a lot of base defense, 4-2, 4-3. So Flus is not a guy that's like Zimmer. He's night and day from Zimmer, so he's not going to be able to generate. He doesn't like to generate pressures. So having a guy that can win in the matchups in base form, in a guy like Dante Fowler, is going to prove very crucial in this scheme, especially if he can have something similar to the production he's been having from the past 2 years. Staying in that position group, we got Peyton Turner, former first-round pick from New Orleans. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, his film is not that impressive, but I mean, he doesn't have much film at all because he's a very injury-prone guy. Cowboys love those former firsts. He does have some raw ability. Reading the articles I was seeing, he believes that he wasn't on a very talented defensive line group as the Dallas Cowboys. So having a guy like Osa Digizua, having a guy like Micah Parsons is going to be able to create more matchups for the kid. Now, if you look at his measurables, 6'6", 270, and what Flus had to say in that same article, he's viewing him as a run stopper, and I can see that to a degree. I feel like he does have the body type. If Flus can coach up this kid, even though he's been in the league for a while as a former first, he has the body type to set the edge and actually be a solidified or just a solid run defender. So if we can somehow unlock this can prove to be one of those gems that we can rely on or just be proud of in general. Then we're going to the linebacker group that really left people probably the most green or every which way. But I like these moves. Jack Sanborn from Chicago. Let Chicago fans tell it. Just let me sitting back and just watching the reaction from Chicago fans should tell me enough that I should be very excited for this kid. And I turn on this kid film, man, he jumps off the screen, and I understand why. He's just one of those high effort players. He has great processing as a linebacker, sees it, going to stick his nose in the gap, plays strong, plays headstrong. He's going to be this year's Kendricks of last year. What I mean by that, he's a green dot guy. We have a new coordinator, and we had one last year in Mike Zimmer, and Kendrick is a guy who's been in Mike Zimmer's system. Similarly here, we are in Eberflus's system. Jack Sanborn, already, I see it in the article, in the videos coming out, he fully understands Flus's system and what he requires. He says, we're going to have to be, fully active under that umbrella. Key words to that. I mean, because we know how Flus wants to put up that umbrella and not a lot of big play. He understands that we need to be able to just stop the run, create turnovers. And he mentioned that, the linebacker coach we have now in Dave Berzoni, there's a very key connection here. Of course, he's coming from Chicago. So we're going to see that and how that relationship is going to go to the next level in this position group. Then we have a guy we just talked about that had high upside. Now let's go up to a guy that has raw upside in Kenneth Murray, that is a former first from he's been on a couple of teams, San Diego Chargers and etc. Very athletic, promise ability. The only thing with him, he has a trouble diagnosing, but hey, you got Eberflus for a reason. He is a linebacker guru. He is a linebacker whisperer. So I trust that Eberflus is going to put this kid and put that raw ability in the right places, not have him at Mike, not have him in diagnosing, have him going forward, making his role simplified and actually having him in attack mode. If you can do that, you can really maximize this kid and really have a promising future with the linebacker core and holding the fork until maybe in a guy like Overshown come back. But Maris Leofau, maybe that diagnosing that some football IQ can rub off to the kid, and hopefully he can learn it. But we're pretty long into the kid's career for him to overcome a key weakness. Then we have Kyer Elam out, former first round pick from the Buffalo Bills. Looking at the articles, changing coaching. I think a philosophy that he just didn't agree with him. They had him playing a lot of zone. They thought he was going to be a ball hawk, be a diagnoser, but you listen to him, he wants to play a lot of man. So I mean, coming to or it was the other way around. But coming here, Flus, he has a lot of belief in Flus's system. So hopefully, the kid, key thing, I understand why the Cowboys attack former first, because want to get infatuated with the name, but also the guys that fail at the first round pick, that's a lot of pressure for the first round pick. So maybe giving them a second chance and shrinking their role can really maximize what type of player they can be. And then lastly, we got Paris Campbell. Hopefully he can be a deep option. Mainly, I think he's gonna be just a guy that's gonna be fighting for his life in camp. So because I don't think he solves anything at the wide receiver position. But let me know how you feel in the comments below. Do you am I tripping when I view the free agents this way, and how I know the Cowboys are being cheap, but we got to understand that I think they did a little bit more research when going for these guys, and actually, trying to put together this roster and actually fill in holes. We got to give them credit where credit is due at some point. So until next time, everyone, peace.